Hi, today we are going to learn about data validation in Excel. So first we'll see how to go to the data validation function. So right at the top there is a data tab, you have to click on it. After that, in that ribbon of data, you can see there is a data tools label, and right above that data tools label you can see there is a data validation function. So why do we use data validation function? Data validation function is used to put limitations on the input of the data. So in simple terms, we just put some conditions in which we need the input in that certain cell. So let's look at the functions which are used in data validation. In the cell that I've selected, I can write a whole number, or I can write name as well. However, if I only want a whole number in it, which is in a certain range, then I have to set a condition in it. So that's what we are gonna see. So let's select the cells in which we want to put those limitations. After selecting the cells, we have to click on the data validation tab and then click on the data validation. After that, you will be able to see there is a allow function. After clicking on the any value drop down button, there is a whole number, you have to select it, and in between, what is the minimum value that I want. So minimum I can use as 10 and maximum I can use as 99. After clicking on OK, if I write 12, it will get accepted. However, if I write 456, it will give me a error. So what is this error? It only lets you know that you are not able to put this value as it doesn't adhere to the conditions we have given. So if I click on the retry, it will give me an option to change the number, and if I write 45, it will get accepted. So until and unless my numbers are right between 10 to 99, the whole numbers will get selected in the following cells, just like that. So that is how we put a condition in on whole numbers. Now if we want to make any changes in text length, so what is text length? So let's look at the data validation. Let's first select the cells in which we want to make the data validation, and in the allow tab we can see there is a text length, we have to select it. Then what is the minimum text length I want? So I can write it as 3 and maximum as 6. So now only the characters from 3 to 6 will be accepted in the following cells which we have selected. So if I write Ram, it will get selected. However, if I write only, it will show as an error. Then let's try some other words. So that is how we put a data validation function for text length. We can also put data validation function for date. So first we'll select the cells which you want to put the data validation function, then click on data validation. After clicking on allow, we'll use the date, and then I will use the start date and the end date. So just like I've selected 4th March 2020 and 4th May 2020 as the end date. So if I try to choose any other date, it won't be accepted in the following cells. So if I use 3rd March 2020, it won't get selected. However, if I try to put 5th March, it gets accepted directly. So just like that, we can put any other values. So that is how we put data validation functions in date format. So now let's look at the drop-down list. So if I want to make any data validation functions in, first I have to select the cells, then data validation, then I will select on the list. So if I want a drop-down list of various countries, so I can directly write the names over here. So like I can write India, Costa Rica, Germany, Indonesia. Okay, that's it. And click on OK. So after clicking on it, whenever I select a tab, I will be able to see a drop down button on the right hand side. And after clicking on the drop down button, I will be able to see those list of countries. So if I select, I will be able to select any number of countries in it. There is also another method in which we don't have to put the countries manually, and we can select countries which are already given in the sheet. Just like in this sheet, we are able to see countries right over here. If you want to select these countries, you just have to, let's try it over here in this. So let's first select the cells in which I want to use this drop down list, then click on data validation, and then go and select on list. And in the source tab, you can see there is a icon right on the right hand side. If you click on this, it will open. It will directly take us to the sheet in which we want to use the data from. Then we have to select the data and click on enter, and then click on OK. So now if I want to select any country, I just have to click on the drop down button, and it will show all the countries which are given in the list that I have chosen. So that is how we use the data validation function. So let's look at the error messages, and let's see how can we make it more defined so that the user may know what to input, what the input should be. So let's go to the text length and use the data validation. And over here, first is the settings tab, and on the right hand side, on the third, there is an error alert. After clicking on that, there are some styles given, that is a stop, warning, and information. So in stop, it stops you from entering any other data from the condition you have given. In warning, it just gives you a warning. However, it also lets you keep the data that you have used. And in information, it just lets you know that the data you are putting is either wrong or just lets you know about it. So let's use a stop, and in title I will use invalid input. And then I will write in the input message as the letters must be within 3 to 6 characters. So now whenever I write a text in those selected cells, and if it is wrong, then it will give me a error dialog box, and it will show as the invalid input, which we have given as the error title, and it also defines what the exact error is. So the letters must be within 3 to 6 characters. So after that, write I will change the data. So that is how error messages can be edited and used in data validation. Now, before writing anything, there is another method where we can show what should be used in the selected data validation cells. So let's look at it. After clicking on date, first select the cells and then use data validation. There is an input message. This input message is used to let the user know what data should be entered in those cells. So I can write the title as note, and then I can write the input message. The input must be within 10 to 99. So whenever I click on any of the cell, it will show me as a note, and it will show input must be within 10 to 99. So these are the functions we can use for data validation. Thank you.